Hey mate, Jochen here. Quick recap before the big one. Portland, brilliant. A dominance renewal away win, clinical finishing, solid at the back, and never in doubt. Pirani, Moore, Bahamas, job done. That's the standard. Then Miami, frustrating. We had the game in our hands, dominated possession, created big chances, but just didn't kill them off. 1 laps, and they snatched a point. Lessons to learn. Now, Santos Laguna, top of Liga MX. Tough, quick, dangerous on the counter. We need focus, composure, and when the chances come, we must take them. No room for wastefulness now. Go make a statement. Let's do this.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 75 of Red Bull KloppBot here on Sean Does FM with the New York Red Bulls. I hope you're doing well and come up day. We've got the quarterfinals of the CONCACAF Champions League, probably our toughest test yet too, as we take on the top team from Liga MX over in Mexico in Santos Laguna over 2 legs. But this does come off the back of the second round, which we did play during the course of yesterday's episode against the defending MLS champions in Austin FC. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Thankfully, picked up a very comfortable 4-0 win in the first leg, which did mean we could play a rotation in the second leg, and actually picked up a 0-0 draw, seeing as the first team got a result against LAFC at home. So some good results there during the course of yesterday's episode. Just 2 games in the MLS that we have played since then. You would have seen the highlights during the course of the intro. First up, a couple of days off the back of that Austin game, we put out a very good performance away from home to beat Portland 3-0 there at Providence Park. This was a good performance. Pirani keeping up his good form this season with a first half goal. And then Colin Moore and Fasha Birchmas, they chipped in the second half. You can see the stats there. Portland did get a few shots off, but thankfully for us, only 1 on target. We were quite clinical with the chances that we did get in this game. So a good 3 points for us there away from home. Then a week-long gap, which definitely plays into our hands going to this first leg of this quarterfinal of the Champions League. It does mean most of our first team players are fresh, and most of them did take part in that game where we took on Inter Miami. Just a few changes there. We played Robertson and Zhao instead of Sane and William, a bit injury prone, especially William, off the back of an international break where he got his first Brazilian call-up. Unfortunately though, our strikers had absolute stinkers in this game, both Molina on a 6.5 and then Castillo in the second half on the bench on a 6.3. It was a 1-0 draw. Got a first half goal here through James Robinson, and Inter Miami with one of the few attacks that they did get in the game. They grabbed an equaliser at the hour mark, so unfortunately some drop points there in the MLS. But alongside that result we picked up during the course of today's episode, it does mean that we've actually gone on top of the Eastern Conference, which is a little bit surprising considering our form earlier this season. Honestly, it's been a little bit mixed there in the MLS, but we're 3 points clear on Atlanta to be fair. They've got a game in hand, and Columbus a further point back with 2 games in hand. So to be fair, if they make the most of those, they could go on top of the conference. In terms of the Supporters' Shield though, it's actually the West that leads it currently, with the LA Galaxy 6 wins from 7 on top there with 18 points. We do currently find ourselves in second, not too bad, but we do focus a bit more on this CONCACAF Champions League. But thankfully, with that week-long gap in between those MLS games that we have just played, it does mean we've got absolutely no injury concerns or recent injuries going into the first leg of this Champions League clash, which is at home as well, as we take on Santos Laguna, who do still sit on top of Liga MX. You can see their recent form there is pretty good. They've beaten their Deportivo Toluca, I want to say that is, as well as Cruz Azul either side of that second leg win on penalties there in the Champions League. So they bring some decent form into this clash. They did draw with Club Leon a couple of games ago because we beat those guys quite comfortably in the League's Cup last season. So based on that, hopefully this is a team that we can beat. But a quick look here at what Liga MX does look like, and these guys are pretty decent, leading that after quite a few games, 13 played over teams like Tigres, Pumas, and Club America. You'd expect to be right up there in terms of the season preview. Also, they were expected to be up there relatively high, 50 to be fair. A few teams still in the competition who we could take on a later stage, who are supposed to be doing a bit better than these guys were, but still, this is a pretty good team that we're taking on out of Mexico. So expect this to be a step up from what we took on both in the first round, the Trinidad and Tobago team, and also Austin FC during yesterday's episode. Just having a quick look here at what Santos Laguna do look like their manager likes a 4-3-3, so the same formation that we roll with their captain, Juan Pablo Olvera, who is a Mexican center midfielder come striker. He's also their key player. He looks pretty darn good, to be fair, actually. He's quite cheap for someone who looks like he might have just started his international career, so maybe that's a sneaky transfer that someone can do in the future of the save, but certainly a handy player there to keep an eye out on. But there are some interesting players in this team as well, including their vice-captain, Ben Godfrey. Don't ask me how he's ended up there off the back of stints at Ipswich Town, of course, before then at Everton and Atlanta, where unfortunately for him, he got no game time, but he's been here now for a good 4 or 5 seasons and still looks like a pretty handy player. So Ben Godfrey we've got to deal with here in the Santos Laguna team. Also, if we go over and look at the tactics, there's a few other interesting ones that you might notice once we make our way down here a little bit further. Let me just find him here once we eventually can. There he is. Unfortunately, might be injured a little bit for this first leg, but they've also got Jamal Lewis, to be fair, Northern Irish, not English, but still, he comes out of teams like West Ham, Luton Town, and of course Newcastle United. So a couple of former Premier League players here we will take on, which does seem to be a bit of a theme. We've taken on Mexican teams so far here in the save, but fingers crossed we can pick up a half-decent result at home and take an advantage to Mexico for that second leg. And here are the team sheets for this first league. We are up first, and as we ran through before, we are going with our best 11 because we've got no injuries, no suspensions, nothing like that. So hopefully we can pick up a good result here to take over to Mexico for that second leg. There are Santos Laguna indeed. Looks like all the big guns are in that team. Also, they've got Baxter in goal, the former Seattle goalkeeper. So an interesting pick up there from Santos Laguna, going from one green team in America to another over there in Mexico. But hopefully, as I said, can make the most here of home advantage. Early yellow card to Wisdom Army, which is not ideal. Then Tickfitch goes very close there from a set piece. I think that one might have come off the woodwork, and Santos Laguna hid that one away, but for another set piece. So hopefully get a chance here from this one. Again, we go far post, but unfortunately they hid that one away. So it looks like here might be on the front foot early, or better to say that. Now down the other end here for a corner to them. We thankfully hid that one away in Sane. Lovely ball forward there to Big Sam, who unfortunately, we made a really good chance there to do something on the counter attack to give the ball there to Santos Laguna. This highlight a little bit to and fro so far with possession, but thankfully Ami gets that ball back for us and finds William there down our right hand side. A little bit of game time in that game that we did just draw against Inter Miami off the bench, but is fully fit for this one off the back of his debut for Brazil. Zanotti will float that one far post here. Looking for Big Sam, unfortunately can't quite find him now. Zenta gets that one back for us, puts it in there. I think that was for William, but unfortunately he heads that one and it comes off the woodwork. So a couple of good chances for us there inside the first 10 minutes, but still locked up at 0. And only a few minutes off back of those first couple of highlights. Now it's another chance for us here from a set piece. This time we take it short, go out there to Sam down our left-hand side for this one. Pulls that one back across there for Molina, who will find William back in the team for this one and beats the Baxter from a tight angle. He'll be sick of us by this stage because I'm pretty sure we scored a few goals against them in the couple of years that we were here with New York while he was over at Seattle. But thankfully, off the back of a pretty good start, a couple of good chances that we have had, we eventually take a 1-0 lead just past the 15-minute mark. And just about to make our way into the last 10 minutes here of this first half, and we've got another chance here from set piece. Zenta will put this far post in. Tickfitch will rise up. This time gets it on target into the top left corner. We grab a cushion goal here in the first half of the first league. Maybe this is going to go quite similarly to the games today that we play against Austin. That would be brilliant because Santos Laguna, a very good team in Mexico, but so far well and truly on the front foot, as you can see there through those stats. Unfortunately, a couple of yellow cards though, which we might need to deal with at halftime, because now as well as Ami, Julio says us. So we'll see what we can do. Unfortunately, the new signing that we did make a couple of episodes ago couldn't be registered for the Champions League because he came in too late. So it does mean that Ryan Lamb is our backup ball-wing midfielder for this competition, as here's Santos Laguna do quite well to keep hold of the ball. Nice one over the top there for Marquez, but thankfully we just forced them out there a little bit wide. A long-range effort, that one from Negletti, but thankfully Koulibaly comes up there with a decent save, but still, it had enough power on it to be forced out for a corner, so a chance for Santos Laguna here from set piece, but thankfully we head that one away. Marquez is back on the ball looking dangerous. We'll float that one far post, but thankfully Olvera, the captain and the quite decent looking striker, he heads that one well over the bar as we start to make our way into 3 minutes of added time, and overall that was a pretty darn good first half. We're going to go into the sheds here with a 2-0 lead thanks to those goals to William as well as to Tickbitch. Pretty happy with how that first half went, matching our XG pretty much on the money considering that Santos are going to have a couple of chances for 0.22 XG. But now it's time for us here to make some subs. We might play things safe. We'll take off Wisdom Ummy. Tarek Connor is the best centre-back on the bench for this one. Colin Moore on a heavy workload, so we'll try here Connor in a bit better form than Joyce. Also, Lamb's actually suspended for this game, which I forgot, so Edelman will give him a try there in ball wing midfield, and also Bircham is going to come on for Sam at left wing, who's down to a yellow heart, going a bit fairly, but so far it's been a good performance, fingers crossed we keep it going in the second half with this 2-0 lead. And we have to wait until just past the hour mark for the first half of the second half. We just win the ball there off Santos Laguna and then get it back through Edelman, who goes forward from that ball wing midfield role, which he's not very used to. A good ball through there to Birchamis, who misses what has to be said, a bit of a sitter. So unfortunately, it's still 2-0, but really that should have been 3. And off the back of that, we've got 2 players who drop down to red hearts. Pirani, usually Edelman would be the backup, but of course with that suspension of Lamb, it does mean that on the bench we do have Anthony Millwood, who might be the best option. Also, William, who is down to a red heart, got that first goal. We'll see what Leroy Sané looks like as a box-to-box midfielder. To be fair, not too much chop. So I think Millwood in box-to-box midfield is the best option, as is Zhao Hongyu at right wing. Those will be all our subs used with just over 20 minutes left. Still 2-0 to the Red Bulls. And only a few minutes after those last couple of subs that we have made. Now it's a throw in here for Santos Laguna. Thankfully, Zhao will head that one away. Not too sure why he's in there defending, considering he's an absolute midget, but for some reason that was the case. Almost looked like there we could have won that ball down our left-hand side, but unfortunately our press not quite quick enough. Eventually Connor does win that ball back for us. Millwood just hoofs it clear, not yet time wasting. We'll probably start to do that with about 10 minutes left to go in this game because a 2-0 lead. I'll be pretty happy with some pretty average marking there on Olvera. It was from Tickbitch. A good chance there for Castro, but thankfully he cuts inside and can't quite curve that one into the top left corner. So a decent chance there for Santos Laguna, their best one so far. Now our defence is quite tired with 10 minutes to go. Let's start to time waste just a little bit and make our way into the deep stages of this game. Birchamis at left wing has done pretty poorly since coming on. So unfortunately, his form here this season not quite as good as it was last year when we did have MV still at the club. But now we make our way to the final 5 minutes of this one. We'll lower the tempo, also time waste a little bit more, be more disciplined, turn off the round defence, and also get our goalkeepers to slow the pace down. Our usual time wasting things here with these New York Red Bulls. Now Edelman picks up a yellow card. To be fair, that shouldn't impact us too much for the second leg, and also hopefully the next game that we play in the MLS as we make our way into 4 minutes of added time. That was quick, that's what she said, and we pick up a very, very nice 2-0 win there in the first leg. I'm hopeful that might be a big enough margin that we can hold on to away from home, because we're usually pretty tight defensively, don't lose by too many goals here with this Red Bulls team. To be fair, we don't usually lose that often at all, so I'm hopeful that's going to be a nice result for us there to make sure that we're not going to be put under too much pressure in that second leg. Santos are going to well and truly on the back foot for most of that game, but a good 2-0 win for us there as we head into the second leg. And before we come back for that one, it's time to check out the KloppBot's hotspots for Torreon, Mexico. And here's what the KloppBot's found for us here for our time in Torreon, Mexico. If you're wondering where this is, it's where the Francisco Sarabia International Airport is. Apart from that, I honestly can't tell you too much. There's La Paz, and next door, Ludo City. So I'm not too familiar with Mexico, truth be told, being a little lad here from New Zealand, but that's around about where it is. But we're going to stay at the Azul Talavera Country Club. It's surrounded by an 18-hole golf course, which makes it sound FAF. It's also a hotel that offers luxurious accommodation, a state-of-the-art gym, wellness facilities, and proximity to sport amenities, making it ideal for team stay. So it does sound like a pretty good place here for us to stay before this big second leg in the Champions League. Thankfully as well, did come back from behind to beat the Colorado Rapids in our MLS game 2-1 a couple of days ago. It was a bit disappointing actually that we went behind in that game. We were hitting the woodwork yet again in that one, but here's what the hotel and the golf course does look like. It looks pretty good. The fellas should enjoy that one. To be fair, there's not too many photos, but it looks like a pretty decent standard golf course, and indeed you can even get some rooms with some pretty good views there of what's happening on the outside. See if anyone does shank one into another person. You can see there it's supposed to be a nice pleasant stay, which is unforgettable, and relaxing, some luxury suites as well, which will definitely be making the most of it. Nearby apparently we've also got the Xeriscape Nature Reserve, so a few things there we can check out at this hotel. They've got some quite nice looking food, they've got the wellness stuff which our fellas might need off the back of that MLS game that they have just played, and the golf course, which does look pretty darn good. Going down further, there's a bit more of the cuisine, a bit more stuff that you can do, but overall that looks like a pretty good place to stay, a 5-star hotel, so we will make the most of that there while in Torreon. But going down, here's what the KloppBot guys doing here for our free activities. First up, we're going to visit Christ of the Noas, aka Cristo de la Noas. This iconic hilltop statue offers panoramic views of Torreon. Teams can enjoy a group excursion to the site, which includes a church and a museum, providing both cultural enrichment and a chance to appreciate the city's landscapes. So it's going to do here first up in Torreon once we venture away from that pretty nice hotel. Not too much I've found here in terms of Google, apart from what's on Wikipedia, and I think all we need here might be the description. It was built between 1973 and 2000, a large sculpture by Vladimir Alvarado, portraying Jesus Christ a little bit here like the one that's over in Brazil, possibly without quite as stunning a view around it as you can see there from that first photo once it comes up there over on the right hand side. There's a little bit of background stuff there that does make it a little bit less interesting looking than Christ the Redeemer over in Brazil. But here's the other photo that we have found, which does look pretty decent, but again you've got that signage in the background which honestly makes it kind of look like a second-rate Christ the Redeemer. That's what we're going to check out first there in Mexico, Cristo de la Noas. And off the back of that, it's time for activity 2. We will explore Museo a la China, located in downtown Torreon. This place showcases a vast collection of art and historical artifacts, a guided tour can offer the team insights into Mexican culture and history, fostering a deep connection with the locale. Let's check out here the website that we did find for this place. To be fair, not too sure how useful some of these websites are going to be, how the translation does go here with Google, but apparently this museum occupies the old building originally named Casino de la Laguna, built in 1910, great historical value and located in front of the city's main square. So to be fair, this is right in the heart of the city here in Torreon. Going down a bit further, considered one of Mexico's most important museums due to its richness and variety. It contains more than 3,000 works of art that were acquired by the Arachena family in the last 100 years. To be fair, I think I'm butchering that pronunciation, I'm making it sound Italian instead of Mexican, but that's what we're going to be checking out there second up here for our time in Torreon. A quick look at the photos, the 4 that we can see, a couple of exhibits, but it's a museum, so it probably depends what time of year you go there. And third up, I couldn't actually find a website for this place, but it's time for us to do some team building at Bosque Urbano. This urban park features walking trails, lakes and recreational areas. Organising outdoor activities for a casual team walk in this green space can promote relaxation and team bonding in a natural setting, which is probably quite nice, but I couldn't actually find any pictures of this place. They'll do here for the KloppBot's hotspots in Torreon. Hopefully they will get us nice and ready to hold on to this 2-goal lead in the second leg of this Champions League quarter final. And here are the team sheets for the second leg here of this Champions League quarter final. There are Santos Laguna looking pretty similar to the first leg, albeit this time they've got Godfrey at right back. Now in terms of us, are trying to rest here a couple of players in yellow card trouble, so it does mean Army at right back, Moore comes in for Army. Also, we've got Lamb in there for Caesar, who of course picked up a yellow card in that first leg, and as well as that, we've switched out our wingers. We've got Birchams out left and Zhao out right, so a couple of changes here for this second leg, but fingers crossed it won't prove too costly. Can hold on to our 2-goal lead and make our way through the semi-finals, which it's looking like might be against Monterrey, which would be very interesting. One of the teams that were expected to be a bit higher than Santos Laguna on that season preview, but to be fair, so far this season they are down that table a wee bit early. Chance for us there from a cross, but unfortunately we can't quite link up, and Santos Laguna here might get a chance to do something on the counter attack to try and play the ball over the top there. Thankfully, Moore heads that one forward to Pirani, and it goes out there to Zhao Hong, who starts to make his way forward there down the right-hand side. Floats that one far post there, looking, I think that was for Birchamus, but unfortunately Baxter comes out to claim that one. Let's see what he can do. We'll pump this one deep more. Somehow misses the header at about 2 meters tall, but thankfully their striker just puts that one wide. So we still have a 2-goal lead, albeit right off the back of that, we see a highlight from the restart. We take it short there. Purani plays it in there to Sane, and now out to Molina. Now Birchamus plays that one back there to Tikvich, and now Ryan Lamb coming in for this game. Hopefully can do a decent job, especially as Stevelano to get game time in the MLS. As I said during the first game, he kind of needs to, not being registered for this Champions League. We nearly lose out on the ball there down our left-hand side, but thankfully Zenta will win that one back for us, but fortunate to keep hold of that ball there. Some short passing now inside the box, and Sane will find Facundo Molina, and finally, one of our strikers scores a goal. It's been a wee while here for our strikers at the Red Bull, but hopefully that will put this tie to bed. We make it 3-0 inside 10 minutes of the second leg, so even with a little bit of rotation for this one, we're looking quite good early. We take an early lead there through Molina and make it 3-0 on aggregate. And it's taken a wee while for the next highlight here in the first half of the second leg. It was Santos Laguna there with a throw, but thankfully we do get that ball there down our right-hand side. So hopefully can make this 2-0 just like we did in the first leg before halftime. And then that should give us a chance here to rotate our squad a bit going into the second half of this game, take off some players like Leroy Sane, who are a bit injury prone or who are struggling, like Birchamus out there on a 6.5, and also already picked up some yellow cards in this half for the likes of Antley and Ryan Lamb. So if you some subs at halftime here would be quite useful, but unfortunately here Santos Laguna actually getting on the front foot here a little bit. They find Morris there, who fizzes that one into the Castro. Good save from Koulibaly, but it goes back out to Marquez, who can pretty much put that one into an open net. There's all the Spanish down there near the bottom with the commentary, which is oh so brilliant, but unfortunately not for us this time. Good save there from Koulibaly, as I said, but unfortunately Marquez, right place, right time to bundle that one home. They make it 1-1 on the day, so fingers crossed here we get to halftime still locked up at 1-1 and not going down to 10 minutes. Indeed, that's what we do. But to be fair, there's a lot of players out there on some pretty poor ratings, and all of them are out wide. Both our right back, left back, right winger and left winger are all struggling. So I think here we'll make some subs, ideally not Zanotti for this game, because that would not be ideal. He's on a heavy workload and quite injury prone. But hopefully, if we go down further, we've got someone like Holland, who of course we signed for the Garcia replacement, who can come off, aren't we? And indeed that is the case. Joe Apples, Bazenta, while he's struggling, so we'll change both our wing backs, and also might not be the worst idea here to leave on Ryan Lamb just to make sure Cesar doesn't get suspended for the next leg. Ryan Lamb, we don't mind that being the backup. Zal can come off here, I think, in this game for Hugo Castillo. William comes into this one on a heavy workload, and also it'll be Paul Perez at left wing, because Sam is another player on a heavy workload. So trying to use here some of our squad players during the course of the second half. Hopefully it won't prove too costly, as we still have a 2-goal lead with only 45 minutes left here in this quarterfinal. And we don't have to wait long here at all for the first highlight of the second half. It's a throw for Santos Laguna inside of our half as well, but thankfully a poor pass there does mean that Holland can get that ball back for us. We go back to Koulibaly, who plays out to Tikvich. Hopefully here a chance for us to get down the right end early in the second half, but unfortunately a loose touch there from someone down our left-hand side. Must have been Perez, and indeed that was the case. Santos Laguna here might get a chance. Tikvich there heads it forward. Unfortunately can't find Sane, but then Perez makes up there with a good foot in, so Apples can get that ball back for us, but then Sane with a loose touch. So this highlight a little bit held to scale. Castro gets through one-on-one with Koulibaly, but thankfully that one goes straight at our goalkeeper. A big chance there for Santos Laguna to make it 2-1 and make things very interesting going into the second half of this game, as now there's another highlight here in Santos Laguna do start to get on the front foot a little bit. They play a ball for the good block from Moore, but then a shot which thankfully Koulibaly can make a big save from. Now it goes back out there, edge of the box. Hopefully we can eventually deal with this danger, and indeed we do, but a couple of good chances here early in the second half for Santos Laguna. Thankfully we just do enough to hold on and keep it at 1-1, but now we go forward to the hour mark, and Santos Laguna are on the ball, but this time deep inside of their own half. They play a ball in there for Morris, who does actually do quite well to keep hold of it, gets it back, and now they try and stretch this one out to the left-hand side. Some good short passing so far though, putting some decent pressure on them, trying to keep them pinned here inside their own half, albeit not for too long. They're looking pretty good here in the second half. Santos Laguna, Morris plays that one in there for Lewis, and now he finds there Solado, who tries to curve that one top right corner. Thankfully, goes just over the bar. So thankfully, Santos Laguna not hitting the target too much here in the second half. We still have a 2-goal lead. In fact, now a couple of players do drop down to red hearts. We can make one more sub. Leroy Sané, quite injury prone. When he does get tied to James Robinson, can come on for him. Still with a 3-1 lead on aggregate. And pretty much immediately off the back of that final sub that we have made, we now have a corner here. Hopefully he can score one more goal to put this one to bed. We float that one far post there for Tickbitch, but unfortunately that header not quite on target. All our subs, of course, are used now. So Ryan Lamb can't come off, but to be fair, don't think we mind that considering then Caesar might get in a little bit of card trouble, which might keep him out of the semi-final. But now we're about to make our way into the last 10 minutes of this game, just like I did in the first leg. We'll start the time waste a little bit, but this time we might do some of that other stuff, lower the tempo and tell our guys to be more disciplined and also stop running at defense so much earlier than we did in the first leg, seeing as this one is the second, only 5 minutes left overall. And now, about to make our way into that, but we have a corner here. Hopefully, again, we can waste some time from this, but thankfully, looks like here late on the game, we are on the front foot. Pirani plays that to Castillo. That's an awful pass back. Thankfully, Pirani can keep the ball for us there. Castillo goes back to Pirani, who will take on a shot and actually forces a pretty good save there out of their goalkeepers. In the end, that was a kind of well-worked routine, even though Castillo's pass the first time wasn't too great. But now we take our time here from the set piece, and someone there gets up. It might have been Colin Moore, but unfortunately, that one just off target. Off the back of that, we'll start to time waste even more. Hopefully, no more highlights in this game or Santos Laguna. To be fair, it's been a very even game so far as we make our way into 2 minutes of added time. And dead even stats-wise up until a very late shot there in injury time. But in the end, our rotation do get the job done in a couple of positions there for us. In that second leg, we pick up a 1-1 draw off the back of that 2-0 win back at the Red Bull Arena for Kindo Molina there, with a first half goal set up somewhat by Leroy Sané. They grab one back there just before halftime, but thankfully the second half we did hold on. You can see there they were on the front foot either side of halftime, but apart from that, we did pretty well in controlling things with our 2-goal lead, and that does mean we'll make our way through the final 4 of this CONCACAF Champions League. And looking at who else is playing on this day, I dare say that might be against Monterrey. So a pretty solid win for us there against the top team in Mexico in the quarterfinals of that CONCACAF Champions League, backing up that 2-0 win at home with a 1-1 draw away. As you saw before, Monterrey, very comfortable win there over a team from Costa Rica, 6-2. In terms of the other side of the draw, Club America bumped Mazatlan from Mexico 6-0, and it was Deportivo Toluca who just did enough to turn around their deficit against the Houston Dynamo. So on the other side of the draw, it will be Toluca versus Club America. We are the only American team left in the Champions League this season, and we need to get past Monterrey to make our way through to a Champions League final. It's our last chance to do so, of course, being the last season of this save set. So we're going to be coming up in tomorrow's episode. A quick look at Monterrey. They're a pretty good team, expected to be finishing on top of Liga MX, but currently all the way down in 12th. So to be fair, their form not too great, but of course, just like us, they might be focusing a little bit more on the CONCACAF Champions League before they then switch their attention to the league, with a lot more games to play in that competition still to come. But these guys, same reputation as Santos Laguna, which to be fair, a little bit surprising. Would have thought that Monterrey might have a little bit higher of a reputation. They play in a very nice stadium too there in Monterrey, the Estadio BBVA. The manager likes a 4-3-3, and they've got some interesting players there. Esposito in particular, the Italian, interesting location for him, like it's been the case with a lot of players in Mexico in this save. We'll have a deeper look at those guys going into tomorrow's episode, and hopefully make our way through to a Champions League final. But that will do it for today, picking up a win there over Santos Laguna in the quarterfinals. If you enjoyed that one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Until tomorrow for the semi-final of this CONCACAF Champions League. Also got a big Hudson River derby before then, but to be fair, we probably going to need to rotate a bit for that game. We might lose one of those, but the main aim, of course, is going to be to win that semi-final against Monterrey over 2 legs in tomorrow's episode. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.